this video, I'm going to talk about the 3-phase forever fat loss approach. And this basically is, as it says, 3 phases in which we not only burn the fat, get rid of the body fat, but also we create a body and a metabolism that is able to sustain that weight forever. You've probably heard of people that have lost loads of weight, pounds, kilos, stones even. And then within weeks or months after reaching the goal, they're back up to where they started. Sometimes, in worst case scenarios, they're heavier or fatter than where they originally started. This in turn becomes quite demoralizing and demotivating. Why on earth would you want to try and lose weight and lose fat if every time you do, you end up putting it back on and more? Why this happens is a little bit complex and a little bit intricate and takes a bit of science. However, I'm going to break it down into 3 nice simple steps for you to understand, because when you understand, you are able to overcome. And if you understand why it's happening, we can understand how to prevent it and therefore overcome it. So you watching this video, when you've achieved your fat loss goal, you will never go back to where you was before. So the first phase is usually the easiest phase. This is the initial fat loss phase. This is when motivation is high because we're starting a new program. This is when the weight is falling off quick because the body is responding nice and quick to the new calorie deficit. During this phase, you are likely to experience these sort of things. Quick fat loss, especially to begin with. However, it will slow down as we progress into the journey because naturally the body needs less calories to sustain the same weight. You will get an initial boost in energy, in daily energy. You'll be springing out of bed in the morning. You won't need those midday naps anymore. Those midday slumps will be a thing of the past. You'll be getting better sleep and your mood will be improving. You'll obviously be more motivated and you'll be happier and more confident. Your clothes will be getting looser and you'll start to notice things that were tight before now fitting quite nicely. And people will start to notice the changes in your physical body. However, you might not notice the changes yet because we tend to notice last. I think that's because we're always looking at ourselves in the mirror and we're kind of waiting for change to happen. This phase simply requires us to move more than we were before and eat a little bit less, or both. So we can move more, which will burn more calories and therefore burn more energy and burn more fat, or we can eat less, which will obviously less energy coming in. The body has to get it from fat, burn it for fuel. We can do one or the other, or we can do a little bit of both and create that calorie deficit. Now, there are a few nuances within that, such as, macro distribution, protein, fats, and carbs, meal timings, portion controls, and even genetic individual discrepancies and lifestyle factors. Over time, as we progress into phase 2, the body will start to slow down with how much weight you're losing, with how much fat it's burning, because the metabolism is a beautiful thing. It will begin to slow down, the metabolism will slow down to match your caloric intake. So how many calories you're eating in a day, the metabolism will slowly come down to meet that until eventually you're no longer losing weight. This is called a plateau, or a plateau. It's a funny little word, I can never say it correctly. Now, this leads us into phase 2. So phase 2 is continuing the fat loss, but chipping away at those last stubborn areas of body fat, that last bit of fat that just won't seem to come off. To do this, we'll be using strategic caloric refeeds. So basically, in places eating more than we were before, just to kind of boost the metabolism and trick it into thinking there's more food than there actually is. So we'll take that food up and then we'll drop it suddenly, which will continue that fat loss. We can just continue pushing the calories down if this is sustainable with your lifestyle. Obviously, we don't want you eating half a chicken breast and 3 ounces of broccoli a day. That's not sustainable, nor is it healthy or advisable. Or we can increase the caloric expenditure, so how much activity we're doing, more steps, more activity, more intensity in the gym, or all 3. And we might use one or more of those tools depending on the individual, depending on their lifestyle and what they feel is best for them. It's also wise at this stage to assess how healthy it would be to keep pushing. For example, if you are a person that is just looking to lose a few pounds, tone up a little bit, create a healthy lifestyle, do we really need to push you calorically down as low as possible to get you, say 10, 12% body fat? Not necessarily. You might get to a point where you're feeling confident and happy in your body. You've lost a fair amount of weight. Yeah, you're still holding on to a little bit. But if we had to reduce the calories anymore or push the energy expenditure up anymore, it would be unsustainable for your lifestyle and you wouldn't be able to sustain it. At this point, we can kind of say, okay, well, we're done with phase 2 now. We're done with the cut. Let's move on to stage 3. We can always return to phase 1 or 2 at any point throughout phase 3 and vice versa. Phases aren't always linear. It's not 1, then 2, then 3. Sometimes it can go 1, 2, and then we go back to 1 for a bit. Let's go into 3 and see how 3 works. It's always about assessing where your body is, how it's fitting in with your lifestyle, how you're feeling within your body, and assessing and making changes where necessary. Now, there's two main reasons that the fat loss slows down and you begin to struggle to lose weight towards the end of your journey. Reason number one is that the metabolism is a very, very helpful survival tool. If you think hundreds of years ago when we was hunting and gathering, we wouldn't have had as much access to food as we do now, therefore we wouldn't have had as much access to calories as we do now, as much energy. Now, the body needs energy to survive, and if we was only getting, say, 800 calories a day from, say, animal products, well, the body still had to run on 800 calories a day. So the metabolism basically turns down the amount of energy that you're using per activity to match the new amount of calories. So if we went for a run, it would, let's say, burn around 700 calories, okay, on 2,500 calories a day. If we were only getting 800 calories a day, that same run might only use around 300-400 calories because the metabolism is kind of slowed down and down-regulated. So as we lower the calories, the metabolism catches up with it and it becomes the same until eventually we're no longer losing weight on those same amount of calories. Reason number two is your body simply needs less calories to maintain its new weight. For example, if you're 17 stone of mass, okay, and mass, I mean, tissue, fat, all the rest. 17 stone of mass requires a large amount of calories to maintain. You obviously ate a large amount of calories to get to 17 stone. Once you've lost, say, 2 stone down to 15 stone, you've now got 2 stone less mass, which requires 2 stone less mass worth of calories to maintain that same body weight. So therefore, for example, if at 17 stone our calorie maintenance, the calories we're eating every day to maintain that body weight are 3,500, but we put you on a 500 calorie deficit every day, so you're now on 3,000 calories a day and losing some weight every week. When you get to 15 stone, your calorie maintenance is now 3,000 calories a day. So that 500 calorie deficit we was in is no longer a deficit because you're maintaining. So at this point, we need to push the calories down again. Does that make sense? Again, at this point, we have strategic tools that we can use, refeeds, further caloric pushing, carbohydrate and calorie cycling throughout the week to get you out of phase 2 and into phase 3. So as we've just touched on, as we continue dieting over a long period of time, the metabolism slows down. Makes it easier for us to maintain a low amount of weight on a low amount of calories. This is where people go wrong on phase 3. People forget to implement phase 3. People go from finishing phase 2 or phase 1 where they're happy with their weight, they're happy with their body fat percentage. The problem is they're still on a low amount of calories, and then what they do is they go back up to where they was originally, which should be, theoretically speaking, their maintenance calories. So they go from, say, 1,800 to 2,800, which is a maintenance, okay? However, the metabolism and the body hasn't adjusted to having 2,800 calories a day. It doesn't need 2,800 calories a day. It only needs 1,800 a day. So if we add an extra 1,000 a day, well, guess where they're going? They're getting stored as fat. They're getting stored for later use as energy. Therefore, phase 3, we call it the reverse diet, or basically speeding up the metabolism, boosting the metabolism. So here what we do is we slowly increase those calories, whether that's coming from carbohydrates, proteins or fats, will depend on your individual physiological and genetic differences, also your lifestyle, your goals, how often you can train. And as we slowly reintroduce that food over a period of weeks or even months, we will also slowly increase the intensity of the exercise. This will force the extra food into the muscle to be used for strength, to be used for growth, muscle growth, so you look more defined, you look more muscular, and you just look better. Now at the same time, those calories will be creeping up alongside the workout intensity, so we can get you back to 2,800 calories whilst maintaining that lean physique that you've built. In fact, in some cases, we can go over the maintenance calories, so from 1,800 calories to 2,800 calories over a period of time, and then we can surpass that to around 3,000, 3,200 calories a day. This is where you have created a sustainable lifestyle. You've created flexibility within your diet. You now have a large amount of calories to spend every day. So imagine you've just become a millionaire. Now you've got money to spend where you want it. That's the same with calories. Now you've built up a metabolism that will allow you to spend calories where you want them. You might have 4,000 calories at the weekend, but you'll have 2,800 the next day to kind of counter that. But 2,800 calories is still a lot of food in a day. During phase 3, we also make sure that we monitor your weight, monitor your energy levels, monitor your body fat percentage and photos, just to ensure that the food is going to the right place. When done properly, this 3-phase forever fat loss approach, this method will allow you to eat more, to stay lean, to lose fat, and keep it off forever. So make sure that you're aware of this and you follow this program, this 3-phase approach through to the end. Otherwise, there is a highly likelihood that you will bounce back to where you was.